everybody, this is Instructor Liggins, and I'm doing an example of the project that all of you have due by the end of this month, and hopefully this will give you some sort of a guide to help you as you create your project. So I'm not going to go real deep into this. I am going to keep it simple. So let's just get to it. Okay, so my theory is based upon the knowledge and expectations that I have. I believe that individuals have the ability to distinguish between homemade and store-bought guacamole due to variations in flavor, texture, and ingredient quality. Now, I'm not doing a traditional experimental methodology or research method. I'm actually doing a non-traditional because I am taste testing. So I don't have a control group. However, I do have a null hypothesis and an alternative hypothesis. A null hypothesis says that I don't have any evidence right now. Okay, I have nothing right now that is reliable that tells me that people or individuals can distinguish between homemade guacamole and store-bought. So it would sound like this. Participants cannot reliably distinguish between homemade guacamole and store-bought guacamole in a blind taste test. Any distinctions observed are due to chance. Now, my independent variable is the guacamole, and my dependent variable is the result, right? If they can or cannot distinguish it. That would be my dependent variable. Now I can go on and define the rest of the variables as far as the participants, but guess what? We're going to keep this simple. I'm just going to keep it broad and general as is. And later on, someone, if they want to, can kind of redo it and be more specific on the variables. All right, so my alternative hypothesis, okay, which is what I believe, is participants can reliably distinguish between homemade guacamole and store-bought guacamole in a blind taste test. And their ability to do so is not merely the result of chance. In other words, they know by the texture and what they can taste and things like that, what is homemade and what is store-bought. So I'm going to test both hypotheses to see which one is true. I'm looking at, do I have sufficient amount of evidence to say that yes, they can, okay, know the difference, or do I not have enough evidence to say that is reliable that they cannot distinguish, okay? All right, so without further ado, I will introduce you to my grandkids and we're going to do the research, all right? Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. This is experiment method research for my introductory psychology class 101. So what I'm doing is having this video serve as an example of what I'm wanting to see from my students. And I have two of my lovely granddaughters. What's your name?
Noah.
And your name?
Destiny.
Destiny. And they're going to do a taste test. Now, my experimental design is I want to know if they know the difference between store-bought guacamole versus homemade guacamole. So here you go here for you to see. All right. I have not told them which one is which. So I have a series of questions that I'm going to be asking them before they get started. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see. How would you describe the appearance of the guacamole? Start with bowl number one.
I would describe that as like it looks like store-bought, but no one really knows. So yeah.
Okay. What about the color for each one of them?
That one's lighter, so it kind of looks like more like homemade.
Okay.
But like store-bought kind of looks like darker than real guacamole.
Okay. All right. And how would you describe the texture of both? Are there any differences? Are they the same?
There's a difference. This has more tomatoes in it.
Okay.
and it has like seasonings that I can see.
That you can see. Okay. All right. So what about you, Destiny?
So this one looks like homemade because it's like looks like you stirred it around, and then this one looks like store-bought because you could just put it in the bowl.
Okay.
And this one's more thick, and this one has more like vegetables and stuff in it.
Okay. Okay. And let's see, what about the color?
This one's definitely lighter green, and this one's darker.
Okay. All right, so let's see. I guess we can start tasting. Let me see if I have any other questions. Okay. All right, so pick up a chip. And I want you to start with the out end. So start with the outer bowl first and taste it and tell me what it tastes like, what you're experiencing. Talk to me. What are you experiencing?
It's a little bit spicy.
There's water.
Yeah, it's spicy.
What about the flavor? Oh. Drink some water.
It tastes like it barely has flavor, but the spice. It's like the flavor is the spice.
The flavor is the spice. Okay. Let's see. What else does it taste fresh?
No.
Does it taste like it's been prepared in advance?
Kind of. I mean, not really.
Not really. Would that be something you would eat on a chip on a normal basis?
No.
No? Why is that?
It's very spicy, and
I don't like
and it doesn't really have a flavor.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have flavor. Okay. All right. So drink your waters. Wash down. Rinse that tongue. Okay. Get a chip and try the inner bowl. What do you think? Move my coffee cup out of the way. Describe what you're tasting.
This one, it's not spicy.
No, that's more taste to it.
Definitely has more vegetables. Has a better flavor.
Yeah.
It's very good.
It's very good.
I would eat it regularly.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see. What about, does it taste like it has been prepared in advance?
Yes.
It does? Okay. So, let's see. Are there any specific flavors that stood out besides the spice in the other one on any of them?
This stood out like tasting like tomatoes. Yeah. And like
lemon.
good. Yeah.
And so the other one didn't have the lemon
It just
flavor.
had some spice in it.
It just has some spice in it. Okay. So let's see here. So I want you to let me know. Here's the big thing. So I think you prefer these two, right? Overall. So which one do you believe is store-bought?
This one.
Okay. What about you?
That one.
This one? Okay. So that obviously you think that this one is homemade.
Yes.
And you think this one is homemade.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is what I want you to do. The one that you said is homemade, grab the...
Homemade?
Yes. Which one? You already gave your answer. You going to change it?
Yes.
Okay.
That one.
This one is homemade.
I think.
Like, didn't make that one.
Think. Wait a minute.
That one.
Which one?
I don't think. I'm just saying because like when
You got to decide, child.
I think that one.
Point. Just point. Which one is homemade to you? This.
Because like I don't think the store would make that.
Okay. So you think this is homemade, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this one to store-bought. And you said this one is store-bought. Okay, store-bought, homemade. Okay, I'm sorry. So you believe this one is store-bought and this one is homemade. She believes that this one is homemade and this one is store-bought. Okay? All right. Here we go. Grab your, what do you call those thingy bobbies? Name tags and turn it over. Ah! You got it right, Naraya.
What?
So
I wasn't believing myself, but what?
This is store-bought guacamole.
Huh? No, this is wait a minute. Did you switch?
This one, they were this.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. This is store-bought.
This is store-bought.
Yes, that is store-bought. Now I'm gonna tell you a secret. What I did, I put in more tomatoes and onions to kind of trip you up. So it worked on Destiny.
Like the store,
but
the
it did
store
work.
wouldn't make, cause it's
Actually good.
Awesome. So I put a little bit more tomatoes in this to kind of trip you up, but I didn't trip Naraya up. So, ladies, what do you prefer, homemade or store-bought? The store-bought, it looks like, but actually, it really depends on. There's some limitations, right? It really depends on
you can make
how you
better.
make it. You can.
No, you can make.
Yes, I can. Yes,
She
I
made
can.
it spicy. She made it not normal.
Like, yeah.
I mean, it's
Oh.
good, but it's.
I mean, we can add some more to it after we're done. All right, so this ends our experiment. So our result is, it pretty much cannot tell just by looking at it if it's homemade or if it's store-bought.
But tasting it.
Yeah, the taste of it. Those
But
that are
looking at
familiar
it,
with the taste of
This looks like homemade.
Yeah, it looks like homemade, but she knew by just tasting it that it was not homemade, although it tastes pretty good. And I think the color kind of did it too because it's lighter than this one. To me, it's lighter. All right, so some people can tell, some people cannot tell, right? But I think both of you prefer the store-bought. So but I will always say that natural, raw ingredients are always best. We can always, and like Naraya said, we can always spruce it up to where it does taste better. All right, thank you, ladies. Wave your hand. Bye. Oh, and I am back. Okay, so did you like my grandkids? They were cute. Anyway, so obviously they liked the one labeled store-bought. So I did quantify my research question. And I'm not sure if I gave you my research question. So my research question was, can individual reliably differentiate between homemade guacamole and store-bought guacamole in a blind taste test? So just in case, I couldn't remember if I gave it to you or not. So I did quantify my results and from 1 through 5. And as far as appearance, they gave the one they considered the homemade. They said it was dark green. They gave it a 3. Taste, too much. They said the flavor is the spice, as you heard one of my grandchildren say. Spicy, can barely taste any flavor, so she gave that a 3. And let's see, and would not eat it on a normal basis. The one that was homemade. The one that was labeled store-bought had more vegetables. That gave it a 5 on that. They could taste the tomato, the lemons. They could tell that it was more tomatoes in that. And just to let you all know, I did add more tomatoes to that particular one to kind of throw them off. And so they noticed the tomatoes, it was light green, the differences in the color. And so overall, they gave the one labeled store-bought a 5. Okay. So the one that was labeled homemade, they gave it a 3. And the one they labeled store-bought, they gave it a 5. Okay, they gave it a 5. So they chose the store-bought. Okay, overall. So is my hypothesis, which hypothesis can I safely go with to say that it is a fact? So the null hypothesis was participants cannot reliably distinguish between homemade guacamole and store-bought guacamole in a blind taste test. Any distinctions observed are due to chance. Alternative hypothesis. Participants can reliably distinguish between homemade guacamole and store-bought guacamole in a blind taste test, and their ability to do so is not merely the result of chance. Now, I will say that the store-bought is the one that I manipulated and added more tomatoes and onions and things like that. But guys, here's the thing, okay, that I did not let you in on. Neither one is homemade. Both are store-bought. So which hypothesis is true? If we believe that the experiment that I conducted is reliable evidence, then we would go with the null hypothesis. Participants cannot reliably distinguish between homemade guacamole and store-bought guacamole in a blind taste test. Any distinctions observed are due to chance. Now, of course, we have limitations with the study. They're kids, right? Maybe they don't have enough experience. They do know, however, they did point out that my guacamole does taste different. So they did notice that there was a difference. But in their mind, they did not know that both were store-bought. Okay, so the null hypothesis we can say is true with the limitations. It can be researched a little further. If you have any questions, just give me a call, hopefully, or send me an email. Hopefully this has helped you conduct your wonderful, wonderful projects. And I look forward to viewing all of them by the end of this month. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.